All right, so we're talking about Michael Jordan, right?
Hmm.
The basketball legend.
Right.
But instead of slam dunks and championships, this time it's lawsuits in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's a different kind of court.
Totally. This time it's his racing team, 23XI Racing, and they're suing NASCAR.
Big time.
Mm.
Along with Front Row Motorsports.
Right, right. And not just like a small claims kind of lawsuit.
Yeah.
This is a full-on legal battle. Could really change things for NASCAR.
Oh, yeah. This is a deep dive into the money, the power, all the stuff behind the scenes in NASCAR.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, what's it actually like to own a NASCAR team? Is it all like champagne and big money sponsors?
Well, so imagine you're a team owner, millions invested in these cars, equipment, the drivers, everything, right?
Yeah, it's got to be a ton of money.
Huge. Then NASCAR goes and signs this massive TV deal, billions of dollars.
Which you'd think would be great for the teams.
You'd think. But it turns out a lot of these teams, they're barely scraping by.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, I mean, they're arguing that it's really tough to make a profit in this sport, even for the teams that are winning championships.
Is that why Front Row Motorsports, the team that won the championship back in 2017?
Yep.
They sold their charter, what, just a year later for like $6 million?
Exactly. $6 million. It's like winning the Super Bowl, but then having to sell your team the next year because you can't pay the bills.
Brutal. And you know, it's serious. When Jimmy Johnson, a legend in the sport,
Oh, yeah.
he said, the best thing to be is NASCAR. The second best a driver and the last thing a team owner.
And that's what this whole thing boils down to. The teams claiming that NASCAR, under the France family, they've made it so the league benefits the most.
And the team owners are left holding the bag.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, let's get into the weeds here a bit. This charter system everyone's up in arms about, what is that exactly?
Yeah, they brought it in back in 2016, supposed to stabilize things.
Okay.
A charter basically guarantees your team a spot in every race, which sounds good on paper.
Yeah, like a golden ticket. You know, you're going to be in, you're going to get the TV money, sponsorships, all of it.
Right, but here's the catch. Imagine having that golden ticket, but then you find out you only get a tiny sliver of the pie.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, the teams are saying even with the charter system, they're not getting a fair share, especially compared to other big leagues.
Like what, like the NBA, NFL?
Exactly.
So you're telling me that NASCAR makes bank from these huge TV deals, but the teams, the ones putting on the show, are struggling to get by.
It's a big point of contention in this lawsuit.
All right, so let's dive into this lawsuit then. What are the teams actually claiming here?
Well, one of the big ones is that NASCAR is acting like a monopoly, especially when it comes to the racetracks.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow. How are they a monopoly when it comes to the racetracks?
Well, they own a lot of the tracks where these races are actually happening, so that gives them a lot of power, right?
Yeah, if they own the tracks, they can kind of dictate terms to the teams.
Exactly. And that's what the teams are saying, that NASCAR is using this control to shut out any competition. It'd be like trying to start your own basketball league, but you can't play anywhere because the NBA owns all the arenas.
That's kind of wild when you think about it like that.
Yeah, and on top of that, the teams are saying they can't even race in other stock car events if NASCAR's not running the show.
Wait, really? So even if it's not a NASCAR event, these teams are banned from racing?
That's what they're saying. And that's where this term monopsony comes in. Imagine you're like an amazing chef, right?
Okay.
You're at the top of your game, but there's only one restaurant in the entire world that's allowed to hire you.
So you're stuck, even if you wanted to cook somewhere else.
Exactly. That's kind of the situation these teams are dealing with.
Wow. So we've got teams pouring money into their operations, a charter system that might sound good at first but maybe isn't, and now this whole monopsony thing on top of it all. You said this lawsuit could really shake things up. What could actually happen here? So if Jordan and the teams win, what changes?
Could be huge. They could force NASCAR to change how they share money with the teams. More transparency, maybe give the teams a real say in how things are run.
So the teams would have more power.
Possibly. This could even open the door for some real competition. Like, what if other racing leagues popped up to challenge NASCAR?
Now that would shake things up. But what if NASCAR wins? Back to business as usual.
Maybe. But I think this lawsuit's got their attention. Even if they win in court, they might have to make some changes just to avoid this kind of bad press in the future. Sponsors and fans don't like this kind of stuff.
Sure, true. This whole thing has definitely pulled back the curtain on how NASCAR operates.
Yeah, and remember, this isn't just about Jordan or any one driver. It's about fairness in sports, how leagues and teams should work together.
It reminds me of those big moments in other sports, you know, Players and owners taking a stand, saying they deserve better.
Exactly. Think about players' unions, free agency, even things like safety rules. Those fights changed everything.
And now NASCAR is having its own reckoning. Makes you wonder, if you were Michael Jordan, what would you fight for in this situation?
It's a big question, right? This isn't just about contracts and money. It's about the heart of NASCAR. Who gets to decide its future?
Yeah, do we want a sport where only a few people call the shots? Or one where there's more opportunity, more competition, that underdog spirit that racing was built on?
Exactly. It's harder for those underdog stories to break through when the system favors the people already at the top.
Well, I have to say, this deep dive has been eye-opening.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about what goes on behind the scenes in NASCAR.
It's definitely been a wild ride, and while we don't have all the answers, this lawsuit has definitely got people talking.
It's like we're all on the edge of our seats waiting to see what happens next.
And that's the beauty of it. The race isn't over yet.
So as we wrap up here, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
This story is far from over, so stay tuned. And for all the racing fans out there, keep asking the tough questions, keep demanding a fair and exciting sport. The future of NASCAR just might depend on it.
And with that, we'll catch you all at the finish line for another deep dive soon.